Bismillah. Continuing with the Tadabbur of Surah Baqarah, the story of Adam alayhi salam. Page 7, ayah 38. A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim. We said, go down from it, all of you, and when guidance comes to you from me, whoever follows my guidance, there will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve. This is the second time the kalima ihbitu, go down, is mentioned. The first time is a command from Allah to Adam, Hawa and Iblis. It came with the acknowledgement that Iblis and his followers of jinn will be enemies to humans. Humans themselves will be enemies to each other. The earth is a temporary dwelling. Do not follow the whisperings of Satan. The second ihbitu, go down, is before Adam is going to go down to earth. Analogy. It is like a parent escorting his son at the airport for his overseas stints and giving the last advice or reminder. Example, remember what I have told you. Contact me whenever you have a problem. And when guidance comes to you from me, whoever follows my guidance will have no fear nor grief. Adam alayhi salam and his wife will be in an unfamiliar environment, the earth, and might be fearful. Allah consoled them once again, saying, humans down on earth will have to stay in touch with him, and he would guide them of what to do. It was a promise that whoever really did follow the guidance, they will not have to be fearful or grieving. Allah is advising and reminding Adam and his progeny to seek guidance, hidayah from him, and steadfast in following his guidance. Allah sends guidance, book, scriptures throughout human timeline on earth to the numerous prophets and messengers acting as teachers for the people to follow. Why is there a need to follow his guidance? Allah sent Adam and Hawa to earth, but at the same time he offered each human a path back to paradise. Humans must stick to this path and not get lost. When guidance comes to you from me, Allah emphasized that we must make sure any guidance that we are receiving is actually coming from him. We must not blindly follow any so-called spiritual person without we ourselves having both logical and rationalized knowledge of the purpose of religion. Any person who is supported by a group who excessively praise the guy can claim that this guy is a spiritual leader with all his religious cosmetics. He and the initial people may be scammers, scamming more people to join them in acknowledging the spirituality of this guy. We must check on his sayings and practices by referencing against non-knowledgeable scholars that are based upon evidences in the Quran, Hadith and Sunnah. We cannot simply say that our fathers and grandfathers are practicing this way, so we followed what they had been doing. This is not our attitude towards religion. What if their practices were not really from him, Allah? Religious rituals that were performed for generations without investigating the sources, blindly assuming those were approved by him. It might be that they were misguided. If a religious leader said that God had a son, we must investigate that claim. Have you investigated that it's really from God? You should not say it is already in our culture and society to believe in such claim. So I just follow what the elders had been doing. Atheists said that religion is the opium of society. It was for those who cannot accept the physical reality of life, like a drug that makes you feeling high as a way to escape reality by believing in angels, heaven and hell. Continuous chanting and immersed in trance, escaping reality by blindly believing in the non-physical world. This might be true for some people who are blind followers. This ayah told us to check what we believe. Believing with eyes open and not believing with eyes closed encourages us to do research to find authentic sources and see the logic. Only then you will be sure that you are getting guidance from him. The guidance is in this book, the Quran. Therefore, start researching on this book. Let your questions come and look for the answers. The hadiths act as supporting evidences for getting the guidance. This book welcomes people to question it. The more you question, the more you get your answers, the more you are to the guided path. Only when you get guidance from your master and you followed, obeyed and being steadfast along his path, then there will be no fear on you, nor will you grieve. What do humans really wish for? Mistakenly, some think that what they need is either having money or status among peers or societies. Some only think of the need for entertainment, but what did Allah say of what humans actually need? This is what humans need: no fear and no grief. Fear is associated of the future. Grief is associated to the past. A guided person by God is a person of genuine iman. True iman will showcase the character of no fear of the future, full tawakkal, and no grief of the past, no depression. It does not matter whether he has less material possession, poor, or lots of material possession, rich. It does not matter whether he has lots of entertainment or surrounded himself with family or friends. Some kids from rich family or in the higher rank of society were having depression and commit all sorts of nonsense activities, and some end up committing suicide. Some people in the lower status of society living a basic and simple life have calmness in their hearts, reflecting on their faces when they sit in the mosque and worshipping Allah. Stop envying people who have money and higher status, and stop assuming these are what you are striving to achieve. Let Allah handle your money and status. How much money or status Allah gave you depends on the limit to the extent of what's good for you, as He knows exactly what you are able to handle and what you deserve. Some people can't handle money or fame, status. They will end up in hell when given these things. However, some can handle it and they end up in heaven because they know and are capable of handling those along the guided path. This is the goal that is expected to be achieved by human as a creation of Allah, and that will give them satisfaction in life. Whoever follows my guidance, there will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve. Allah didn't say whoever believes, but whoever follows. People can utter the words that they believe, but that is not proof of their belief. The proof is when they follow guidance and practicing guidance. Remember, during the beginning of this Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah mentioned about the muttaqin and muflihun. People of muttaqin are those who follow His guidance, those who protect themselves from sins. Protection is an assurance of safety. Safety is the opposite of fear, no fear. People of muflihun are successful people who have passed Allah's test. When you are successful in the divine sense, you are happy. Divine happiness is the opposite of grief, no grief. In summary, whoever follows His guidance, they are of the muttaqin, safety, no fear. And number two, muflihun, success, happy, no grief. They achieve calmness in this world and calmness in the hereafter. Our Messenger ﷺ was told of the promise of guidance to the muttaqin to live their lives with. That promise was not new. It was a promise since the beginning of mankind, that is the offering of guidance hidayah to Adam alayhi salam. Guidance hidayah is the most valuable item to be given to a human. A person guided by Allah will have his emotions in a calm state even if he is poor, having long-term sickness, looked down by society, etc. By following and practicing guidance will lead him to enter paradise, the ultimate richness, the ultimate status, the ultimate happiness, the ultimate peace, the ultimate success, etc. No fear and no grief in this world, really? With all the sufferings in this world, how are we going to be out of fear and not be grieving at all? No fear concerning them. The Arabic word used was la khawfun, meaning for most part of your life, you will have no fear and no grief. People following guidance will have less feeling of fear and grief when worldly sufferings happen to them. They will have a different attitude when facing fear or grief in this world, which makes it easier for them to carry on with life. Allah never said they have no fear. He said no fear on them, concerning them. To understand this phrase is via examples. Fear on a child. A young child is playing with a snake. The young child is not afraid, but there is fear on the child. That is, there is actually danger on the child. No fear on them. No fear on those people taking the roller coaster ride. The people riding the roller coaster are in fear throughout the whole ride, but there is no fear on them, as the roller coaster is certified very safe. No fear on the people following the guidance. The people may experience controlled fear in the course of their lives, but they are actually not in danger. No fear on them. However, people of taqwa who follow guidance are always in a state of another kind of fear. The fear of not following, pleasing the master, in fear of displeasing the master, in fear of the hereafter, etc. However, in the hereafter, they are actually safe. No fear on them. Why fear mentioned first before grief? Fear is associated with the future, things that have not happened yet. Every person will have something that he fears of, from the very little things up to the big things. Example, fear of failing the exams, fear of not getting a job, fear of not getting a house, fear of hunger, thirst, fear of meeting your would-be in-laws, fear of getting married and having children, fear of your business or career, or lack of money, etc. Fear is a daily affair. Fear is actually a healthy part of life. Without fear, life as we know it will stop. No fear of not going to school, no fear of not getting a job, no fear of committing crime, etc. We need to have some kind of fear in order to carry on with our lives. Grief was mentioned second, as not every day you will experience sadness or grief. Grief is associated with the past, things that already has happened. The number of hours that you are in grief are few compared to the number of hours that you are not in grief. When you remember bad incidents in the past, you will feel sad. When you are not thinking about them, you are not sad. And life goes on. The subtlety in the ayah putting fear ahead of grief. Fear is what people experience most of the time. A noun is used for the Arabic word of fear. A noun is permanent in concept. Grief is what people experience some of the time. A verb is used for the Arabic word of grief. A verb is temporary in concept. Nor will they grieve for a certain kind of incident or problems. Others will be grieving extensively, while people who had followed guidance will have less or shorter time of grieving. In this world, people refuse to follow guidance because they thought that it will bring grief to them. They will not be having fun when obeying commands and prohibitions. Example, they cannot hang out with friends drinking alcoholic drinks, not having free sexual relations, unable to eat anything they desire, etc. It will be depressing life, grief in this world. They thought they will achieve happiness by doing the opposite of guidance. There were many converts, reverts who confessed that their previous life of continuous partying and having fun somehow end up towards to having depressions. By not following, obeying guidance, people will end up having a depressing, grieving life in this world and in the eternal hereafter. The converts, reverts said that they found Islam and living the deen way of life. Only then they found peace in this world. Those who obeyed will eternally have no grief in the hereafter. Hence, this ayah was talking about fear and grief both in this world and in the hereafter. Following guidance is a win-win situation. You get peace in this life and in the hereafter. Even if bad things happen to you in this world, you are still at peace, as you know that your sins are being pardoned and you will be heavily rewarded in the hereafter for your patience. Imagine you standing in front of Allah with a big smile, cheek to cheek. That will certainly remove your current stress. This is a positive concept of human going through sufferings. If your struggles bear fruits, then that is a win in this world. If your struggles fail, then that is a win in the hereafter, as you will be rewarded. Therefore, Allah sent humans to earth with positive attitudes towards life in this world. You see people in the tsunami hit towns and villages who lost their homes, their children, their livelihood, etc. And yet they doing sajadah, prostrating, establishing salah, thanking and praising the Master. They had just gone extreme calamity and yet they are still obeying guidance. What kind of people are these? They lost their children, they make more children. They are sick, they thank the Master for erasing their sins. They lost their livelihood, they thank the Master for being alive and to have a fresh start, thanking Him for whatever food they still get, etc. The more dangerous calamity is when you have everything in life. As life is easy, you will tend to forget the Master that is giving what you possess. When you are drinking a glass of water, you forget Him. When you are eating peanuts, you forget Him. What if He forgets, doesn't care about you in the hereafter? In some parts of the world, children having meat only on Eid Day, that is once a year, and they are very happy and thankful to the Master, while people in the first world countries throw leftover meat burgers casually. Our sense of gratitude towards the Master is at a sickening state. Hence, a person who is consistently with the hamd, praise and gratitude of Allah, he is calmer in living his life as he is thankful to Allah for every little thing that he is having on a daily basis. No fear and no grief is the theme of his life.